to kind of share a little bit on how about this general area. Some context. Yeah. I'll give you an example. Front Street. What is the name of Front Street? The actual name of Front Street. Does anybody know? Aloha Āina. That was originally the name of Front Street. Aloha Āina. Factory of the king. So, the reason why I always emphasize this is because the younger generation are picking up too much bad slang. And when they pick up these bad slangs, then we lose the heart of our tradition, culture, and everything else. So, just for context, I want to put this up to kind of remind everybody where we're at. Yeah? And the mountain over there, it's like, everybody knows what it's like, yeah, Mount Lāhaina. So the moment of this mountain was, directly from here, this is direct west, east is what? What is so significant is in comparison to the Mount Lāhaina? You know? Huh? The Neo. So you have the Aikāne in the east, and you have the Lāhaina in the west, right here. Okay? So, Maika Hikia, Kalakau, Maika Ho'okui, Ārakalawai. That was included at David Marlowe. Right up. And the Puri was the rising of the sun, the setting of the sun. From the hill of enlightenment where the waters meet. This is where you're going to find this place. It's called Lele. Not Lāhaina, it's called Lele or Lāhaina, which was the old name of this town. The place of the living souls. This is the place, capital of the kingdom. Okay, so I'll identify some areas for everybody. The mountain right next to the Mount Āina is Moku'ula. Āina is, but you know, the flower, the pig, it's kind of parked in the back of the head, stand up. That's the same name of this mountain. Moku'ula, scorched back lizard. So, that's how I can tell everybody well really is, because if you get any grown toenails, that means you're part of a mole clan. That means y'all gotta be related. How many get any grown toenails? What? I just put something really inside here. Okay, then we have Moku'ula. Moku'ula right next to us, right in this park over here. Just out of the restoration process right now with the county of Maui. I have about the county of Maui, but I'm not going here. We're here for a different purpose, and I think we need to stay course. So the process has started. Put the piranha fence around here. Hopefully, eventually, within the next 5 years, we'll start seeing some digging. And I hope it doesn't turn into just a settlement basin, that it actually turns into what it was before, which was a local Enoch, where we could start replenishing our ice box over here by raising the small fish and releasing it into the open. This is the area where Colin Kioli actually wrote his first constitution, and he called it the Constitution of Aloha Āina, protecting the small fish from being eaten by the big fish. And he incorporated it into the Constitution, and he made it right across the street over there in Moku'ula, which is known as the House of the Iron Roof, which was actually the kingdom or the capital or the palace. Right across in this compound over here. Okay? Then you have Paupau. Paupau, where David Marlowe means place to rest. Yeah, from the day that he died. But David Marlowe did something spectacular for us. Really look back at why he did it. David Marlowe petitioned the government to be buried from foreign invasion. There's writings, yeah, actually petitions the government to be buried from foreign invasion. David Marlowe knew that there was a great change that was coming. And it's written in the bullet that he wrote, Nā Makua Maika Ia Kalakau Maika Ho'okui Haka Halawai, Nā Makua Iakaina Kua Iakaina Alo. He was prophesizing this change. That the heavens was rolling, there was lightning going off, but no sound. There was thunder that was rattling the earth, yeah, but no light. And when David Marlowe started writing about his prayers, that's when the churches in this town. Actually, shocking, and to a lot of people not to pay attention to him. David Mao was kind of going a little bit bullied. David Mao was the first one educated in the Western system, graduate of Lāhaina, 1830, 1840. He was the first one ordained in the Christian ministry until they chastised him. At the last diligent stance, he petitioned the government to bury from foreign religion. He's still buried up above today. One of the big fights for myself was now you get hand titles launching from Pahu, which are being engaged with the Department of Land and Natural Resources, saying that somebody is violating these last rights. They wanted to be buried up there in foreign invasion, and now they're using that as a launching pad just so they can have their little economic tour going on up there. But that's not the story. That's not the story. Then you have Pukaili. Pukaili, that bridge that separates the Valley of Moku'ula, the east and the west, the hill of the stand. Then you have Moku'ula. That's what we are. Power, you and I, Ula, red. Anything that is red is sacred. So what Ula means to us is the sacredness of dualities, the sacredness of you, Kali and the Wahine. You said that the Kali had meeting with Mauna Ka'ine, and from the bosom of Mauna Ka'ine shot out is more. Sailed into the South Pacific and beautiful part detached falling into the middle of the ocean, forming this island of Tepito or Tepinua, Rapa Nui. There's a Moai on Rapa Nui. Only one Moai with both teams sitting on its knees, and it's the only Moai that is facing here. That's our relationship to us. The prominence of the song Kawi Keuli, Nā Aikāne, which actually changed the whole course of Hawaiian religion by abolishing the couple system, by allowing Kani and Maui to eat together, to sleep together. We had a concept that we used to live, now we live in a different phase of concept, and to me, it's personal, but I think that's one of the problems that we have. I'm starting to intermingle our elements. And that's just me. And David Mao. You know, I wanted to get into the hard part of the thought. So Front Street is actually up on it. You get Front Street, you get Shaw Street, you get Prison Street, you get Catherine Street. Literally, what they were trying to do was turn Lāhaina into little USA. Yeah? So, Shaw Street, all the way to Moku'ula, the way of the people. We gotta bring these things back. So, what I do is like the Aloha Āina, the emerging program, getting into the younger generation's heads. That's not the actual names of the streets. We've got to change our outlook on everything that we see. I mean, you gotta live in town, you gotta live in areas that, the English names, like Washington Street, Lincoln Avenue, and, what is the actual name of these areas? In the name of Aloha Āina. Now known today is the Aloha Āina, which was the pathway of the king of Pilani, now becomes the pathway of the son of the king of Pilani. Lord Kini, which was the funeral procession for Iluni Okakamawa, Nā Aikāne, which was the actual pathway when they had their funeral procession that went up and buried for the church. Then you have Aloha Āina, which today is called Waineke. Then you have Aloha Pahu, which is Prison Street. Pahu meaning fortress. That's the whole name of these streets and these towns. That's how drastically things are changing. So what we did was we went to the army and said, yeah, let's put names back. And they said, well, it's pretty hard to do. You're gonna have to go to the U.S. Post Office and try to convince them that, you know, it's not the actual name. So what I did was I put a proposal with the Line Restoration Foundation saying maybe we should put the name on the bottom, the actual name of the street. Yeah, nobody looking to take the street off. Anyway, to correct the wrongs, and there's a lot of wrongs that we gotta consider here. And one of them is changing the identity of our town, changing drastically. Then you have the whole of stuff. All the stuff is at the heart. The last family that was conceived over there was Moku'ula line, and her name was Aloha Āina, which was an airport. She passed away, and they put her bones in an image called her Aloha. And you know, more of it to explain a little bit more. Then you have Moku'ula, Lāhaina. Hopefully soon it will come back, but I hope it doesn't turn into a Polynesian culture center. Aloha Āina, which today they call Āina. And Aloha Āina, which today they call Catherine Street. So everything is all sort of wrong. So we try to encourage this county to wake up. Kalimua Pilani, it says from Mala all the way to Pomala. The Au separates Maui and Maui, then the circle. Why it's important that I emphasize this because I tell it, what do you want to talk here? Oh, 505. Oh, it's not 505. But encouraging and emphasizing our next generation. It's our job, Moku'ula. It's our job to make sure that our kids don't forget their body part, don't forget their story. Because when we start moving away from those things, we're easy to be convinced about the greater animals out there. The biggest, greatest animal that we face today is Nā Aikāne. That's why we're all here. That's why we're all here to kind of get a little bit more information from a lot of conduits that are working out there, yeah, that are really pushing the bar out there. Not only educating our own people, but educating the authorities out there on the illegalities that are happening. So I wanted to, right now at this moment, bring up Kelly. She flew all the way from Washington to be with us today.
So while it's down, I'm just going to introduce myself. I actually live on Oahu. I did just come back from Washington, D.C. and I'm sharing about my experience there. And I live in Kili'o. I'm married to Aleha, who's from Moku'ula. I have 2 boys, work in UH, and I've been pretty much involved with the whole movement to stop Nā Aikāne for last year. So I flew over this morning and I'm going back home to Oahu this evening. But I came to kind of share some information with all of you and also to encourage you to be part of our movement, which is the Aloha Āina movement. And I feel it's a really positive movement. And it's about us as the people coming together and doing our own So, and so I just wanted to also for inviting me and for including me in your community and for allowing me to speak here. You know, I'm from Maui, but I just feel honored to be standing in Lāhaina, which is the old Hawaiian kingdom capital, right? And standing on the soil, which is pretty sacred, and there's so much history here. And for being part of this protest to save the island. our people have been doing the work of trying to restore our independence, our kingdom. Just want to acknowledge Kikuni Blaisdell, Paul, Leandra. They were all very instrumental in fighting the fight for many, many decades. Okay, so just a little bit of history about our Aloha Āina movement. It started actually with the Aloha Āina. And what happened was we realized that most of the community, the Hawaiian people out there, didn't really know what was going on with Nā Aikāne, the AHA, that they were planning with the process to push for federal recognition. And so we went out there and we started doing Aloha Āina for communities. And what we found, we did Aloha all over on Oahu, we did on Maui, we did on Hawaii, we did on Hawaii, we did on Big Island. What we found was that people really wanted more information, wanted to know what was going on, and they also wanted to come together and talk story and dialogue, and there was like a big cry from the community saying that we want our own AHA, that we want our own process. And so that's what that's how we evolved into the Aloha Āina. So in January of this year, we had our first meeting in Kahaluu, and that's when we started doing our Aloha Āina. Our Aloha Āina, we have 4 goals. 1, to reaffirm our independence from the U.S., resist and oppose the Police claim to be the representative voice of our people. 3, to reject current DOI attempts to federally recognize the Nā Aikāne as Native Hawaiian tribe. And 4, to unite our people and collaboratively engage nation building. So that's basically our 4 goals that we're trying to do. But I'm going to give you some history on where this all came from. Okay, so we started off as protest Nā Aikāne and we kind of grew into the Aloha Āina. So in 1893, we kind of all know our Hawaiian kingdom was overthrown by small group of businessmen with the help of the U.S. military. Fact 2, the United States is unlawfully, in 1898, unlawfully occupied Hawaiian Islands, and it continues till today. Fact 3, over 3 million acres of valuable from government and public lands of the Hawaiian Kingdom were seized and taken over by the U.S., and that includes Maui. Fact 4, 1897, 21,269 signatures were gathered protesting U.S. annexation. Those are our that protested. So I'm so proud and just so grateful to the petitioners. They're all over. I don't know how you guys do it. Everywhere we go, you guys are there too. So awesome. Thank you for all your work there. Fact 5, we, the Hawaiian people, never relinquished our claims to our cultural, political rights to sovereignty as a people, nor did we cede our national lands to the United States. This is recognized in the 1993 U.S. Apology Bill, and the great thing about the U.S. Apology Bill to Hawaiians is that they actually said it. The U.S. Congress signed a document and said that what we did to you folks, to us Hawaiians, our Maui, was wrong, ever. And you actually never relinquished your rights to all those millions of acres of lands and your sovereignty over them. Fact 6, 1959, due to false representation by the U.S., it was removed from the UN list of non-self-governing territories eligible to be colonized. Fact 7, the UN recognized in 2007 the rights of all indigenous peoples to self-determination, freely determine their political status, and freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. And so our options are much wider than federal recognition. And I'll get more into that too. But federal recognition, the way it's being proposed right now, there is no land. The only land we're going to get is Moku'ula, period. All federal lands is off the table. That includes the 80 million acres of northwestern Hawaiian Islands and nearly 900,000 acres of land that's currently controlled by the U.S. military. So all of that is is off the table. We're not entitled to anything but the Moku'ula. And so this type of, and the problem is, what's happening now with Nā Aikāne is they're telling us that this is our only option. We actually have other options, and we can stay occupied. I don't know who wants that, it's not working. Get federal recognition with land, become a compact free association, or become an independent nation. So we do have options. I just wanted to share that as well. Okay, so fact 9, summer of 2014, that was June. June 18th, the DOI, Department of Interior, comes out and says, hey, Hawaiians, you guys want us to draft rules so that you can be federally recognized tribe. That's June 18th. June 23rd, 5 days later, after they advertised that, they had the first hearing. They had no notice. They had 15 meetings across the islands. And when our people went to those meetings, the overwhelming majority of our people said, no, we do not want federal recognition. We don't want any of these rules, we don't want federal recognition, leave us alone. We we're already doing our work. And what, basically, hundreds and hundreds of people did that. The Department of Interior did not ignore all those voices and only looked at the 5,100 testimonies that were submitted written on postcards, basically, and looked at those written comments only. They did not take into account our testimonies. They only looked at written comments. So when we looked at what was written, we actually have a group of researchers, all volunteers, that looked at the 2014 written comments. 55% of those comments came from Aloha Hawaii, which is an organization that has Lady Kalakame'ele, the mother of Nā Aikāne, Kanai'olopalo Commissioner, Jane Danner, the sister of Ron Danner, another Kanai'olopalo Commissioner on there, and all these other well-connected Native Hawaiians who are connected to the power that is controlling Hawaii's currently. They're the ones that submitted 55% of the testimonies on postcards. Most of them were unsigned. 1,000 of them were duplicates. So, I don't know if does that represent the voice of our people? I don't think so. So, and then we also found out that the Native Hawaiian Vote Commission submitted 741 testimonies. Again, mostly unsigned and within a 2-day span. So again, I don't know, the Native Hawaiian Vote Commission was created by Act 195, and their whole sole purpose was to create a vote and not to lobby the Department of Interior for federal recognition for Native Hawaiians. But they did it anyway. They submitted 741 testimonies on your behalf, saying that they want those rules. And the report that I submitted to the Department of Interior shared this information. It says share these statistics. 2015, October, the Department of Interior comes out with these draft rules. When you read the draft rules, it provides for no lands, all federal lands off the table, and it asks, it's basically set up to support whatever comes out of the Nā Aikāne. So it's clearly. Okay, so again, 50,000 testimonies were written or submitted to the Department of Interior the second period, 2015. The deadline was December 30th, 2015. And what happened was testimonies were submitted after the deadline. 50,000 testimonies, in fact, were submitted after the deadline, and by an anonymous person who actually created a fake change.org petition and submitted it to the Department of Interior. And again, we have a group of researchers checked with change.org, checked with the people on that list who had no idea they were on that list. Their names were submitted to the Department of Interior. So again, does those 50,000 names represent your voice? Probably. Okay, so kind of going over some history. In 2011, the Kanai'olopalo Royal Commission was created, the Native Hawaiian Royal Commission, and these guys were appointed by the then governor Abercrombie to create a role. And what they did also in that Act 195 that created the Native Hawaiian Role Commission was they defined what a Native Hawaiian was. So it's J. Danner, Mahani Went, Lei Hoi. They spent $4 million of our monies, of our Hawaiian trust monies, state of Hawaii monies, if you want to say that, to create this role. They had 2 years to enroll 200,000 people on that role. In 2 years, they only could enroll between 19,000 and 40,000 people after spending millions of our monies. So what happened in 2013 was they said, oh, okay, since you only could enroll 19 or 40,000 people on your roll, with all these millions of dollars we gave you, what we're going to do is we're going to pass Act 77. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but Rick Boyd of Altaria is the person who created this Act 195 and introduced it in Act 77. And her mom, Solomon, also was involved in the writing of Act 195. So 2013, they passed Act 77, which transferred tens of thousands of Hawaiians over to the Kana'i'o roads. They took it from Operation Ohana, Kainoa, the Hawaiian Registry, and these are names that were taken, like for example, the Hawaiian Registry. Some of us actually signed up on the Hawaiian Registry to get a scholarship from the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. It had nothing to do with Hawaiian governance. But still, they took those names and transferred it over. When they transferred that over, it went up to about 120,000 of Native Hawaiian role. And they certified 95,000 on that. So it went up to about 120,000. They took out the ones that were supposedly not certified and came out with 95,000. 95,000 only represents about 18% of the population. But a lot of those people, I was on that list. A lot of those people didn't even know their names were on that list. Furthermore, there were hundreds of names on that list that were deceased. People who were, who actually were long gone, our loved ones, were on that list. Okay, so to encourage Hawaiians to sign up on the list, what they did was they threatened us. I don't know if you guys saw the ad in Oha, in the Oha paper, and they said, if you do not sign on this list, you will waive your right and the rights of their children and descendants to be legally and politically acknowledged as Native Hawaiians. So we waive our rights to money, we waive our rights to land. So it's because they wanted people to sign up on this list. Okay. Then in December 2014, Nā Aikāne was created. I don't know if any of you, Andre always asks us when we go out in the community, did any of you elect any of these people to represent you? Do you even know who half of these people are, or any of them are? We know one, yeah, you probably know, you listen to that on my phone. But these guys, I never knew them at all until December 2014, when they were appointed, when they created Nā Aikāne, the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, and they put these guys in charge of nation building. They were not elected, they do not represent us, they're self-appointed basically. So this, the 95,000 names were transferred over to Nā Aikāne. So, yeah.
Just an FYI for the 5 that she did show that was Nā Aikāne board. Just to add to the list of the 5 board of directors for the Nā Aikāne. Initially, when OHA wanted to put together some kind of representation of the Maui, of the Kanaka, the 500,000 worldwide Kanaka, what they did was they initially went to the Aloha Trust. That's who they represent. It is the Aloha Trust. The religious trust that they gathered was the Royal Order of Kamehameha, Ahawi Ka'ahumandu, Aloha Āina, Kamehameha Schools, Queen Leokalani Children's, and the Reno. Out of those trusts, this is what opted to say, yes, we will topple you. So Kuhio, the only honey, represents Reno. Okay? The two on the outside standing, that's Nā Aikāne. One in the middle standing, and the one sitting next to Kuhio. That's Ahawi Ka'ahumandu. So those were the 5 trusts that agreed to Oha. I'm just going to throw this in right now, only because some of you may know, as Penikiken of Ahawi Ka'ahumandu Helu Eha, Wailuku, I wrote a letter to Oha and said, Ehalamai, she may be Penikiken of chapter 1 for Ahawi, but she does not have the authority to represent the 300 of us, 500 of us, statewide, Ahawi Ka'ahumandu members. She does not have that authority to represent us. Because I wrote that letter to Oha, our trustee went back to them. Our trustee, Carmen Lindsay, for Oha, went to this board and said, do you guys have the okay to speak on behalf of all the trusts that you are technically supposed to represent? None of them could answer yes. And Oha knew that they couldn't answer yes. So the 5 of these, what they did, they removed themselves from the trust. Now they represent anybody but themselves. So that's the history of how they came about time. Yeah, just to add so that everybody knows. You guys didn't need like that. He doesn't represent me. I know all of his land, but that's okay. I need to say what I need to say. Yeah? So you guys know that's the history of the beginnings of the Aloha.
Okay, April 20, yeah, thank you for sharing that. It's good because you're with the one side, so because you have the insight on that. And by the way, she is actually the one on sitting down, she's actually the wife of Clyde who was the administrator for the office. He runs the Aloha Volume 2. Okay, April 2015. Okay, despite the lack of street or community trust, the Office of Hawaiian Affairs gave Nā Aikāne $2,598,000 to create a foundation. Now, Nā Aikāne is not even a nonprofit. They are just they're just a group. I mean, they're just like a corporation, and they had no history, but they were given $2.5 million, 2.6 actually. According to Act 195, only Moku'ula will be transferred to the nation created through this process. In December 2015, Nā Aikāne was forced, they were going to have elections to, they had $2 million, $2.6 million, they're going to create a constitutional convention, they're going to have an election for their delegates, and the U.S. Supreme Court said, no way, you guys cannot have this election because it's race-based and you're using state funds for this election. And so it was shut down and they canceled their elections. February 2016, 150 former Nā Aikāne candidates were appointed by Nā Aikāne to create governing documents for a race-based nation. So they were, so they canceled the election and said, hey, all the delegates who put their names out there who represent supposedly 10 people, but some of them don't even represent 10 people. You look at the records, it's 10 the same person, or it's 10 NA, or, you know. So anyway, it's kind of sketchy. So, you know, 200 delegates, 154 of them said, okay, we will come to this AHA to create a governing document for this new Aloha nation. Yeah. Okay, and what happened was basically, just move forward. We went outside, we went to the AHA, we protested the AHA. We were there the first day when Walter Reedy was dragged out of the AHA because they wouldn't let anybody in there. We had security, they had police. It was heavily guarded, it was behind a gate. And on February 22nd, we went there to wanted to address the AHA and share our declaration. We have the Aloha Āina have two declarations. We have a declaration affirming independence and a declaration rejecting the Nā Aikāne AHA. We went there with our declaration rejecting that AHA. We asked them to please let us come in and to read our declaration. They voted not to let us in. We were going to climb the gates, but they opened the gate for us. And we ended up getting arrested, 8 of us. Including Playboy, Andre Perez, a whole bunch of us, and Kalama Hill. And another guy from Maui too, Chloe his name. Okay. So they created a constitution, and of the 120 unelected self-appointed delegates, they passed a constitution that is set up for the Department of Interior to federally recognize their entity, the Hawaiian Nation. 88 people voted yes and ratified this document, and 30 people voted no. Okay. This document, this constitution, requires us to rubber stamp it, requires ratification by the Hawaiian people. And so be ready. Aloha, Kana'io will just come back to Aloha to ask for more money. After $4 million, they want more money. If ratified, if this constitution is ratified, we lose all our rights. It will be the final nail in our coffin. The people who are in power now will be even more empowered because they'll be federally recognized. And it will be helping Hawaiian Nation to finally settle once and for all our national lands, Hawaiian Kingdom lands. Okay, so recently I just came back from Washington, as Moku'ula had said. And because of all this, because of our movement, and because of what we found in our research, we wanted to take, and we have a few Christians out there, so we have our declaration, which we signed on AlohaAina.com. We have our declaration that rejecting Nā Aikāne. We have our declaration reaffirming independence. And we also have a protest Nā Aikāne petition. And we did all this research into the comments that the Department of Interior collected and used to say Hawaiians want this process. What we did was we took that research, did a report, and I went up to Washington, D.C. to submit that report to the Department of Interior. I've been in contact with the Department of Interior General Miller, who is the supposed contact for our whole federally recognized rules that they're trying to propose. And she hasn't responded to me in the past 4 months. She responded once or twice, answered a few questions, but hasn't responded to me in 4 months. So I was calling, emailing, telling them I'm going up. I even posted it on Facebook. And I went up there with my documents, with the petitions, with our report showing how fraudulent these comments were. Really, it's called manufacturing consent. And they knew I was coming, and I was greeted by security when I got there. They wouldn't, I had some filming me, it was people I fed. When I got into the lobby, they told me I need to turn that, the camera off, and I cannot submit my documents. It took a lot, went back and forth with them, and finally I was able to they weren't able to call someone down to come and pick up my documents. But the whole process of going up there, going to the Department of Interior, trying to submit the manalo and the research, and basically, the names of hundreds of our people to the Department of Interior was very, very difficult. And it really showed that there's no transparency in this whole process. And if we become federally recognized tribal program, I think they're just going to get worse. Anyway, that's just my not own, but I wanted to share that it was an experience. It was difficult. You can't get in, you can't film. They told me I couldn't film any people who were coming out of the building. I couldn't talk to anyone. And then I got an email from General Merrill that day, like a fast email saying that they won't be taking any appointments or talking to anyone until they review all the comments for the 2015 session. So that's kind of like everything in a nutshell. So what's next is not ratify the Constitution. They have to, what they're trying to do right now is they're taking the Constitution out to civic clubs. Shaw has a meeting coming up, and what they're doing is they're bringing in homesteaders. They're going to take all the little homesteaders up to Washington, D.C. and Maine. And for sure it's for the Department of Interior and for this process. And so what we're pushing out there is that please do not ratify this Constitution. When you come to your community, tell them you don't want this Constitution. Tell them it doesn't represent us, and that it was actually created and voted by 88 people who were just self-appointed people who were getting paid a stipend from the Office of Line Affairs and using our monies for their staff that they're doing. So, I think I covered everything. And so we're hoping that you guys will join our movement, be part of the Aloha Āina, where we're bringing our people. We are the other AHA. We are the people's AHA. We are the people's movement. And what we're trying to do is bring people together and share our goals and goals and reaffirm that we have a right to independence, not just federal recognition with no land. So I hope you guys, join our movement and came here to really promote our Aloha Āina. So mahalo for having me here. I really, really appreciate being here, and it's very much an honor to be here. Mahalo kemo.
Yeah, I wanted to bring Honorable Kaua here. Give us some inspiring words.
Aloha mai tātou. Wau hana i te alo kāmo hale kui. 2006, I came out in Moku'ula. All about independence leaders and we put out the top stories, see how they can unify it. So I was part of that. I was hanging out with the guys and stuff. On a skip he made mention, he says, we don't represent all our people, we planted queens and assorted accessories across the islands. And I agree with that. We don't represent all our people. So I had shared with them a vision that God gave to me years ago. I was walking through a warehouse. I was on a work sale, had bins inside, all set up, and had body parts all inside of bins. I knew I wasn't there to board them. The board asked me the question, can I go home to live? And I said, I don't know. She opened your mouth, prophesy. I opened my mouth, don't know what I said, the vision. But whatever it was that I said, I saw a body part shoot out on the beach and on the floor, came together as one body. But still don't have my breath. The board asked me the second question, same as the first. Can I go home to live? I went look up and I could see winds that was all divided. The boy asked me, where are the winds? He says, open your mouth, prophesy. I opened my mouth and began to speak. Don't know what I said again, but whatever it was that I said, I saw the winds all come together. Came together like a funnel cloud over this prostrate body. Then he went connected to the body and would stand up for nothing. And for years I have waited for interpretation. I have discovered like a foreign picture that all I need to do was walk daily into the is the time of the huli. How we come about that part, we don't know. But we all play active role in this area. So anyway, I'm sharing this vision with everybody at the camp. And then I got convicted in my heart, but I was sharing something that I was not actively, in other words, because he said, oh, how we going to pull everybody together? Nobody get money. You basically collect the hands, just walk up there to his camp. So I had to put my money where my mom was, and I said to him and everybody else that was there, I said, you will provide 40 one-way airline tickets, one-way airline tickets in order to make happen what you just said. Bring in the key screens and assorted accessories to the table for the story. In 2006, November 28, we had the first of all of the homes that was for the independence of our nation. And like any other kind of meeting, I'm not going to war, everybody was in each other's face, was getting heated, and each other choking each other's neck practically. And then at the end, we all over each other. Well, 10 years removed now, in 2016, I came once again, tempted to go on the body parts forward again. So I did. Put a call out to all of those across the island in order for we put everybody together. And January, the 3rd of this year, we had our first one at the Aloha. All the different guys in comment. We had to weed out through the whole thing. Everybody just kind of weed their own self out whether they were going to participate or not. Because I firmly believe that each body part is exactly that. One body part that specializes in certain area. But the body got to move as one. God only have one pole that we move on. God have the glue factor. So we had the first meeting. It weaned out again in our second meeting in February. I'm calling now for the third meeting. That's going to happen within the next 2 weeks or so. This need for us to move as one at the glue factor. In my last meeting, I started off the meeting first by having everybody go on. Because over the years, we had crossed each other's paths. And had some unity, I'm sure, that's developed. So we have to come to the table and have our feelings over something. We got to throw on the table, make one, make right. So no more no hidden agenda. Because we're going to cancel our own self. We're going to be our own demise in here. So when the meeting began, like any other meeting, brother or sister started to confess the fault of somebody else, how they got offended by so each other. Oh, since you guys talk kingdom laws, let's stick with the law, the word of God, because everybody talking God here. But I don't see what we practice. So I said, this is what I'm going to do. The word says, confess your faults to one to another, not confess your brothers. Confess your faults one to another, then pray one to another, and we can move together as one body. So I just wanted you folks to know that there is a move of a call for the body parts to come forth. This being one awesome thing, those on the ground level, our common people, our ladies, and so on and so forth. This is an awesome thing. You're planning painting in the land, but like remember, you got to go to the trail of beings. But once that power, I refuse to go around the mountain for another 40 more years. You know what I mean? I don't want my children to have to continue to fight this fight that our Moku'ula will fight and we're fighting. So at some point got ahead. So I said to everybody, I am very much concerned for your feeding, for your spiritual growth. And I know it's been constant dry out there. So I personally show you how committed I am when by time on time. So I went down to Leslie Broadcasting and purchased one whole solid year of contract with these guys. So on Channel 3, every Sunday morning from 7:30 in the morning, rebroadcast Monday morning, 5:30 in the morning for a working crowd. I told the guys, I said that all of you guys are from different backgrounds. So if you want to do threatening whatsoever, you can turn your TV on and turn them off if you so choose. But I am willing to see this type of ruling happen. I know what it is to be rejected in DC because I was rejected by the church throughout Hawaii for crying the same cry about me. Went up to DC, same thing. Went up to a national representative, one brought up there with the Family Research Council that represents 12,000 pastors across 50 states. They too came across through all of the islands in Maui, the last place to represent, because we are the last stop on the flag, you know what I mean? They had a question in their hearts. They knew America was under judgment, they didn't know why. When I showed up at the meeting, I told them why America was under judgment, because our queen put them under judgment. Told them about the time that would come, the image would be laid out on the table. That they would have an option to make one way, not the same God they introduced to turn around and slay the nation. These be the days of the children has been my echo throughout DC. That word has been rejected. So, rejection is part of the whole thing that everybody will buy into this time. But I am committed to seeing this fully happen. I'll do everything that I possibly can. and will, mark my words, I won't be led of the Spirit of God on how this thing will rock and roll. Because he'll go very much into the political scene. You know how to get political guys activated, but also know how to get his colors activated. And I like to believe that I'm one of them that gets activated to his hour with purpose. Hawaii is a key. There is so much profit stuff and so over this land that as it goes for Maui, it goes for the nations. Maui. Now Maui is not limited to the land. We're talking about the people of the land. Maui always go. You know, we go. We always go. We charge them. Anything that comes Maui, we charge them. But as it goes for Hawaii in general, it goes for the rest of the nation. In 2 weeks, we'll be heading to Arizona because we too have done the First Nations wrong. Economically speaking, we can afford people here, you know, cheaper to leave Third Island. But we fail to realize that we do knockers over there what these guys being done plus on our own land. So vicious cycle. At some point, the bugger again. So we'll see to it that the mind of the Creator is not only spoken and echoed throughout land, but that it also manifests itself, fruition, come to fruition in our time. That's why we say. So, mahalo, follow the all time for and aloha to all the friends that have acted in the standards. Okay, who you know now? Please stand. It's a food that we are already know I think of it. I still my brain. That we can get food. We can get in Israel. Start right, we'll have some lunch at the same time we got
Turn it off a little bit.
He doesn't know.
Okay, so
4 viewers. So we'll be back on after a short break. I'll just let it roll so you see when we start again.
All the things are right up there and hopefully they can translate. So I wanted to get back into the discussion about, you know, where we go from here. I mean, it's always been an ongoing issue for a lot of us now that, you know, we're putting Mahalo and preparing to Mahalo on the federal recognition side, on the letter that is being submitted to the Department of Interior. At least we get something to go back, well, to follow up on. And I don't know if there's any guarantees that we're going to follow up on. It seems like there's no hush-hush and quiet what's going on over there. I feel we gotta stop making noise, all of us. And I kind of mentioned this last night, that I got a strategic plan to kind of boom the headlines of this whole team. And all I need is 50 family members to say, let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, and it's real simple. If we concentrate on this side, now that the land is still not developed, Quality Development Corp. And gotta keep this kalamana on a low key because they know we come in, the gates will go up. But we got to get the key for down on the bottom, maybe there's a possible way we can actually strategically occupy these lands together to bring a louder voice to the issue at hand. And that's the cricket night of putting constitution that they get in the Department of Interior. I think we gotta raise our voices high and really go for a land occupation that nobody ever saw before. So, I'm looking at 50 family members. Hopefully we can get 50 family members and we look at all the land commission awards. And if those families can tie, laterally or whatever, which way they tie, yeah, we'll be willing to sit here with all the family to put the papers together to submit it with the pro companies on your genealogical tie, those properties, any land commission that we're looking at. Because I know that the Poikue, Aki, there's a lot of real. And those are soon to be developed by Aloha Āina Development Corp. So if we want to strategically place one family on every separate land commission award, like what's happening up there in Aloha right now, you get 120-something families, and you get one interest. So that's how they corral everybody into one little pocket and make one determination that suits the rest. Now just imagine if we had all of a sudden one movement, one time, everybody go occupy it. Once the papers are filed, the Bureau comes in, we're ready to go home. Oh, we occupy those lands, post the signs there. Private property, private use only, secured, 1-207. Just as a fluster. Then we move on. You know the amount of work that it will take for a lot of these land companies to say they can't round everybody up because it's all separate land commission. Also, they attack each one separately. Yeah? So we get 50 cases simultaneously going in the courthouse at the same time, but it's all separate issues. The judgment drop. The attorneys is going they're going to be calling people for help with this issue. I had this vision a long time ago because when we moved on, it was kind of a test pilot for us. We don't know what we were getting into. And it wasn't, let's just say, we were just a motor, somebody was driving the car. Somebody else was driving the car. So, almost 20 years later, we went home. Yeah? We just went home. We never asked. We went home and we built a house. And we're still there today. So I just throw this out there as a suggestion. And hopefully that you keep that on lock and key. Yeah, that's one little portion of occupation. Because if the land companies know that something is being planned to do one land occupation, then they're going to lock it. They're going to lock everything down. Now, like Aka'inui's case. Remember Aka'inu'i? 5 years ago, Shaq fell. So Aka'i was saying, but that's my land, that's my title. Shaq said, you're not in here based on title, you're in here because you can't do it. Your property. And it was the gate why he was in there. It wasn't the property. It was him cutting it all out. So I think the people, nobody can bring any blocks. You can keep all the way. So I just wait for people who come about ready to move on the lands and really ready to rock it. Because the way I see what Sister has shared with us and what's going on in the movement, Aloha Āina movement, and the protest movement, and everything that's happening right now in the county on AMP, once again with the goalposts for himself. Yeah? The land issues, the water issues. I already see it already. We have no opportunity but to go home to those lands and hold down and buckle down and say, get out. It's been done already, retired. No more contract, no agreement, done. And if we don't move down or soon, it's not going to get any better for our kids. So we need to make a move. I like what Howard was talking about bringing the body parts together. So I just need for 50 families that are willing to take that initial step, that journey to go forward. We can meet up over here, we figure out how to put the papers together to send them to the Bureau of Conveyance. Boom! Once you submit it in the Bureau of Conveyance, go. That's it. And I think it's time for us to now start working together on how things need to be done. Right across the way, right next to the Aquatic Center, all the way down Colorado Road, the companies over there. And we don't wait for Palmer College and the court to determine what they want to do with it. Yeah? Because it's not theirs. All the lands that they claim to own, it's a warranty title deed from Pioneer Mill. What is a warranty title? So I think if anything, they should raise the bar on the bigger issues that is happening, so it's like the issue is done. But sometimes when you talk about land titles and adverse possessions and all that, does it have anything to do with non-uniform? I ask you that. Does it? Has everything to do with non-uniform? Because we're getting screwed again. No matter what we do, we're getting screwed again. So I just show you, propose it all to everybody. And in that game, read your genealogy, there's no more. You find out where you stay on top here, do the unilateral, and try to figure out, tie you to one of those properties, follow with the land commission award, the genealogy, and submit them in the Bureau of Conveyance. Once they sample, you're already home. Ready? Game? I know.
Oh, you're right. That's actually what it is. And you know, the thing about trespassing, we have two things to do. So the location they put on top of the the issue that it is traditional easy for traffic. According to the document that we have, whatever it is for the real estate agent, that they are for a tool and also a mistake. Once they sign the document, they know that they have to give. That's in their reason. Two, it's already protecting our boundary, which is a 47%, which is literally in HR 7-1. Because according to that, it's waterways, right-of-ways, is free to everyone. Outside the area. So it's free. So it means to say that we trespassing not on the water, only to the law. That's the other thing is to get the separation of laws. We think that the only people that have to deal with us is the president of the state. So any legal action taken against us has to be done by the president and operate him first. And they cannot drag us into court because it's illegal. That's what you like to do.
Okay, and I think that's good language that we can implement in everybody's papers to be submitted in a Bureau of Conveyance. The reason why I bring this issue up is because we are resonating something as a community, great issue to the bigger issue, and that's not included. We are organically 100% in opposition to the Constitution that was submitted, right? Well, the way I see things is, okay, this is the federal government, listen to the Moku'ula. We take it to city. They're listening to the dams. They're listening to the AJ shop. They're listening to the shop. They're listening to all those corporations out there. They really don't represent the interests of the people. So we need to rise up as people, yeah, and make them think this is what's coming. So we believe that it's coming. Yeah? I'm not saying to Moku'ula. The fish are no longer here covering the people that we are right like a green to cover the land. And I think this is the time that we need to do proactive things. So, the state, the county, the federal government, yeah, they get us so sidetracked right now. But if we make one move on the land occupation right now, then we'll do anything. We're walking all over the place and they don't know where to turn. That's where we are. We're in so much confusion right now that the federal government and the COI and all those other entities that placed us in. I think we need to turn the tide. I think we really need to turn the tide. So if everybody ready, bring in genealogies. I'll put our land commission watch from the industries inside there. We see how we related, and I know through this we all unilaterally relate. I wanted to talk about this, really concentrate on the liquid measurement of the Aloha Āina that divided us for hundreds of years. It's not about the liquid measurement, it's not about 50%, 49%, it's about cocoa. If you get that much cocoa, then we all related. It doesn't change anything. The system that we live in placed us in the category. And that's why we're so competitive against each other. 50% on this side of the line, how I say Constitution. 49% you're on that side of the line, you put it on the U.S. Constitution. Where that came from? Right? So the bottom line is, if that Maui can all the attitude of us and just say that, you know, we all come up. How we going to come together? How we going to put together? How we going to bring issues? The bigger issue out there is, let's go home. Let's all just go home. Yeah? And you can see popping all over the place. You can see firecrackers going on. You can see all these guys that get big money, yeah, coming out of Uber because they're afraid. They're afraid that they're going to lose something. But they have nothing to begin with. They have nothing. You know, I tell plenty of people that they buy property over here. Oh, you buy property over here? How much land tax you pay if you bought property? When you think about it, if that's your property, how come you still pay land tax? You know, my attorney, Richard McCarty, representing the Payable family. And in the court case on the mortgage, they have a foreclosure office. They locked down each place. So Richard would implement some ruling saying that, you know, why come about it? Theoretically, if the family owe you money, it's only for a house. So you can have the house, but the land stays perpetuity for the families. So in that case, the judge was, well, you know, you're right. So flip the coin, yeah? If the foreclosure was with the bank, they give the bank 30 days to vacate the house or get the house out of your property. But the property stays intact for perpetuity for your families. That's how it works, people. We get too caught up in an illusion, thinking that when we lose the house, we're losing the land. The land doesn't change. And funny, yeah? Well, yeah, the house they locked, but they're still living on the property. They're still waiting for the bank to get the house out. The bank don't have money to get the house out. The bank, you know, it's part of the illusion and the lie that we've been told. That all of a sudden, oh, we're going to move out there. We're going to lock the gate. We open it one morning and we cut the lock, open the lock, and the family went inside. Real the thing by saying, oh, it's a quarter. Yeah? All you guys get is the house. That's all the clothes. Not the land. So you got a lot to spend on the land. You know? So the more we think about it, the more we think about it. But the land, people, we don't survive it. We're not going to survive it. So we need to restore it once again and take our lands back. I truly believe that. Do it again and take our land back. At all costs, let's do it now.
When even taking the land back, we have to understand they have to have water. You can have all the land without water. this whole thing with the water is really good. It's kind of, and I mentioned a little earlier, reach out. It's just kind of like, if we really do fast, kind of figure that the devil wants, you know, he doesn't touch. Why don't we fight the devil? The United States is not, why are we fighting the loser? Because we need to be,
Yeah. If the simplest thing we can do is follow documents and submit it in the Bureau of Probation, just go over there, it's the sign. Yeah. The sign is the flag, it's the notice. That should kickstart the occupation.
What do we put on the things? They only color.
Well, I'm looking at almost one way of doing this. Yeah, almost one way of doing this without confrontation. You know, if you go in with a lot of love, yeah, and a lot of truth to everything that was stand behind, I think they're going to work right. Because they're not poor, they're not truthful. The first thing they're going to do is they're going to file something. And simple, when they came up to the mountain, yeah, I told the cops, you got no jurisdiction over here. And the cops said, right. And he turned to the, I don't know what it said. This is a civil matter. It's a civil matter, people. Which means when they come to you and serve you with something, or they call a police officer, you tell them, you have something to speak to you about. This is a civil matter. They got a file against you that they own those products. The whole thing goes on to you on the land, taking care of the Kulian, that's all that matters. The water, of course we need water. But we gotta get the land back first. Once we get the land back, we'll figure out what the hula will draw water and stone. Yeah. And I mean, once again, although we're still holding on down up there, hey, whatever we gotta do for bringing these lands back to where it is, to raise the bar, to raise the argument, get everything kind of moving. Yeah. You know, we had 3 tremors there already. 3 earthquakes, yeah. Everything comes in 3s. So, for me, when I look at these 4 islands, yeah, it's meant for us. You see, shake, rattle, and go. Something is coming. We should be ahead of it and not behind it. We should step up. Okay. So, for this next hour or so, we're going to open mic. Some people wanted to share some know-how. I wanted Kara to come up and share some know-how, but I think let Foster share a little bit of know-how to where our next step is. You heard where my next step is. I just need for 55 minutes. Let's do it. Okay? We have Foster and
and raised, grew up here, etc. Fully autonomous. I want to walk. And pretty much I'm going to be echoing what the other Moku'ula been saying. And this is something that I truly believe passionately and sincerely in my heart. And that is, when I look at our initiative and our efforts, like how we came to meet in January and then we did the follow-up in February, and then now we're here in the beginning of April. I totally agree that what Aloha Āina started, which came about organically from the people, and Helani and her husband and Aloha and some others, they are the co-founders that started this Aloha Āina. It is the mechanism, and rightly so, of addressing a really serious and bad, and I'm not going to be polite now, kakio, called Nā Aikāne Native Hawaiian Constitution. So we know that entire process in itself fundamentally was ever. And because, the part of that was a Native Hawaiian Constitution, which is a piece of paper, that was voted on by 80 people that said, this is a Moku'ula for our Native Hawaiian governing, Native Hawaiian government. Okay? That is an element that folks like the Hawaii Civic Clubs, SHAW, the Sovereign Council of Hawaiian Settlers Association, CNHA, who is the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement, we got together in an effort to make all Kanakas a Native American tribe, just like how many of the Native Americans of Aloha Island were recognized by the United States, as tribes. And so I'm totally against it. Totally against the legal the process, and especially this Constitution. Aloha Āina is the mechanism that we all have now that we can actually stand up against these entities that are taking this Constitution. And believe me, as I'm speaking right now, it's still in play. Okay? Those 5 individuals that make up the Nā Aikāne, they're funding the ratification process. They said, no, we're not going to do that. Which is why they're going to give the money back to OHA. And Helani explained, OHA had originally granted and funded the Nā Aikāne. And so they didn't use up all that money, so they got to give it back to OHA. Now here comes Aloha Āina. They just avoid it for a while. Letting somebody else take the credit. So last week at the whole board meeting, Klein goes and he's asking for the money that Nā Aikāne is returned to OHA. Now he's asking that money returned over to Nā Aikāne. Okay? And I'm speculating here because I don't have all my thoughts yet, but I have no problem going out and live there. If anybody want to correct me, by all means, correct me. They're going to take the money and they're going to go into the community. They, in Iowa, the Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs, SHAW, Sovereign Council of Hawaiian Civic Association, CNHA, Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement. You're going to go into these communities and there's already letters and documents that are circulating online asking the different organizations to hold meetings to convince a community to endorse and sign this law. Okay? As Helani correctly stated, in 2014, we had a UI that came, they sent a delegation into the island. There were hearings that were held in June and July. Okay? Even though the evidence, the facts for the majority of Hawaiians are against this process, they're moving in with it as if, none of us came out and spoke out against it. And so what they're going to do with this document that came out of the house is they're going to use it as an excuse to say, look, this is why we're going to make Hawaiians tribes. And so I'm the type of guy, no matter if it seems futile or if it seems like me speaking out is not going to make a difference, I'm going to speak out. Period.
Because whether it makes a difference or not in the real world, I can stand up and look at my kids and my grandkids and all and they'll know that I stood up and said, oh, period. Even though you have these other organizations spinning their propaganda, why? This is the part that I'm trying to stress with everyone. We have a mechanism. It's organic. It's rising on all the islands and even on the continent, in the Hawaiian communities. And this energy, this organic rising, is creating this energy, and it's happening through the mechanism of Aloha Āina. And like Moku'ula said, all the issues that I'm confronted with, period, no matter what family, where you are on the islands, everything ties in to this native Native Hawaiian Constitution. That is what I'm aiming for right now to stop. Because that's in play. So you guys, serious club members, so each of your community, in your families, in your circle of friends, you probably have people you know, you're close with, that are part of the civic club. They are actually Hawaiian homestead beneficiaries. Doesn't mean you have to only be a MC. If you're the waiting list, technically, you're a Hawaiian homestead beneficiary. That's what the DUI is targeting. That's who they're going to say, this is who wants to be federally recognized. And as Alani said, again, correctly and accurately, the only land base that's going to come out is Moku'ula. That I know for a fact because I know the people that's behind that. You're going to actually have two tribes. You're going to have a Hawaiian homestead tribe, and then you're going to have the Moku'ula tribe. I'm not going to be anybody that tribe. Okay, quite frankly, we're forced to be American, so I'm not really using anything. So I'm not going to even go there. Why? I am going to speak my mind. I am going to resist. I am going to object. I am going to reject. I will stand up and say, no, no. You don't want that said. Period. Don't follow. You guys are all over my business. Okay, sorry, I'm always on my own. But you gotta get out of here. So what I'm saying is that from this point on, and we can get towards the direction Kemoku is speaking of. I honestly believe our next step here is to come together in the next meeting and with the concept and the mechanism that Aloha Āina has in place right now, that's what we should do. And so, I leave it at that.
Aloha Āina. So, my name is Caroline.
Sideways or this way?
And I need to give you a little bit of history about myself first, before I go into talking about what I wanted to speak to you about. I was born in Hilo. My parents grew up on Timaha Homestead, Moku'ula. My dad's Ohana is from Kohala, and my mom is from Kalapana. If you say Kalapana, it is synonymous with a certain name. And I think a lot of people in the activist world would recognize if I say Kiliho Omalu. Yeah? They're very strong activists. That's my mom's Ohana. Because of my dad's job, it transferred into the mainland when I was 8 years old. So I grew up in the Western Manamo, the Western mindset. And I mentioned this before when I spoke, in that all I knew about my history was, one, it became the 50th state in 1959. Two, the Moku'ula show. That's all I knew of my history as a minor. The reason being, is lack of education. And the lack of education is why. Because our history is not being told by us. Our history, and what is being told, is only what wants to be heard by us and everybody else. Yeah? Moku'ula is telling their flip on our history and our culture and our roots. And that's why I only learn what I learn. So I always had a yearning to come home. I always had a yearning to know who I was and where I came from. So even though I have a hana that is strong in the activist world, I myself was ignorant when I came home. I've been home since 2002. And he can attest, I'm involved in a lot of different Hawaiian organizations, police, because I want to know all about, like I did, my history and culture. I already explained to you that I'm part of Ahahui, Ahomana, the Royal and Benevolent Societies. And when this whole incident came out with the DOI rules in DOI in 2014, and I went to a couple of the hearings that we had here on Maui, it was evident that we did not want to be a part of the United States. Our kupuna back in 1897 did not want to be part of the United States. So the reason why I got involved is right here. This is what was signed by kupuna in 1897. My kupuna, my great-great-grandmother, is on page 66, line 33. Kalake iho omalu. She's my great-great-grandmother. She's Foster's great-grandmother. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is the evidence that my kupuna did not agree with what happened back in 1897. Out of 40,000 Maui that were in the kingdom at that time, Aloha Āina was able to garner 38,000 signatures out of that 40,000. So I know my kupuna is one of them. So this was the protest against annexation to the United States. What happened with the AHA is this paper, which is the Constitution that they adopted from the Iapuni. This is the Constitution that 88 out of 120 on a daily basis attended, adopted on February 26, 2016. There were 30 of us that opposed it. 30 of us. I'm one of the 30 that opposed. So in essence, annexing this, I'm following my kupuna. I don't want to be a part of the U.S. I've seen the things that they do. I've seen the way that they steward things. I'm a veteran of the United States Navy. I was in the Navy for 22 years. They don't treat their veterans very well. And if you've been a veteran, you know and you understand where I'm coming from when I say that. As Kealani mentioned, when the DOI came about, back in 2015, the DOI came out with draft proposed rules. Okay, draft proposed rules. This draft proposed rules states, one, the only land base that we are going to get is kaho'olake. Trust lands, ceded lands, crown lands, way goodbye. It is not part of the DOI draft proposed rules. In this Constitution, there's actually a lot of ambiguity if you've actually read this Constitution. There's a lot of ambiguity in that. It talks about land being conveyed to the nation, but it doesn't answer who's doing the conveying, and it doesn't answer what land is being conveyed. I was a member of the AHA from February 1st to February 26th, 2016 at the Gulf in Maui. I felt the reason why I wanted to get involved in that was because I thought what we would do is build on our constitutional monarchy, the constitutions that we had from 1840, 1852, 1864, 1887, right? Those are the constitutions we had. So I thought we would build on those and bring it forward. And that's what I thought the AHA was all about. That's ignorant me. So I went in with that. And that's my platform when I try to run as delegate to represent Maui. But in these UI rules, what it says, they need 30,000 minimum, 50,000 maximum Native Hawaiians to approve the Constitution. Out of that, they need 9,000 to be Hawaiian homestead beneficiaries. And Hawaiian homestead beneficiaries, they need 9,000 of that. What you guys need to know is, it was mentioned that as we went to OHA and asked for money, Nā Aikāne returned $100,000. $100,000 out of that money that they got, 2.6, they returned $100,000. Well, Ka'i'olawalu's intent was actually out of Act 195 to create the role. After the role was created, they should be power. There should be no reason for Ka'i'olawalu to be in existence. However, Ka'i'olawalu, ED of Ka'i'olawalu, asked OHA director, husband of director of Ka'i'olawalu, and participant in AHA, goes to OHA and says, can we have the money? Yes, I'm going to say Foster's right. They need this to be ratified. They need this document, this constitution, to be ratified by a minimum of 9,000 Hawaiian homesteaders. OHA submitted a bill to DOI. What they're saying is, instead of doing the 50, let's do 20. Let's do 25. All we need is 25,000. Don't have to be beneficiaries at all. Just 25,000 can allow me, and we can get it passed. So the question is, where did that number come from? Where did OHA get that number? Who did the counting of the votes back in 2015? When the election got canceled, who counted those votes? Supposedly they're supposed to walk away, they were never counted, they were never supposed to be counted. Do you think that maybe OHA knows how many people actually voted that election? Maybe that's why they want to lower the count vote. That's one thing to think about. The other thing to think about is in the AHA, the grassroots initiative that took them to court saying that this is race-based. Do you guys actually think this is race-based? Is this race-based? This thing? Is it really race-based? Can anyone answer that? It is? Why? Okay. Only one as far as what? Okay. Let's do a little bit of correction on that one. When the AHA adopted this constitution, what they said was Kanaka Maui with Koko was supposed to be the word to ratify this, but it got taken out. Now what it says is you have to prove your lineage to the Aboriginal people prior to 1770. That's what they're saying. That's all they're saying. And you have to be 18 years old in order to ratify this constitution. Now the thing is this constitution is being backed by CNHA, Council of Native Hawaiian Advancement, SHAW, Sovereign Council, Sovereign Council of Hawaiian Homestead Associations, and the Hawaiian Civic Club. The Hawaiian Civic Club now is an Admiral. Everybody know that name? She's a P. She's Bill. I'm sorry. She was in the office too. She was the one that had you guys arrested February 22nd, the day after you guys after Aloha Āina. He was the one that went to the house and said, who's in charge here? Get these people out of here. He was the one that was there, because I was there, and I heard what was going on. Yeah? We tried, the independence people that attended the AHA tried to get observers to get out into the AHA. The majority of the people that disagreed with us was all people that said yes to the Constitution. They were the ones that said, no, we don't want anybody involved in it. We don't want anybody to see what's going on. That's why Uncle Walter really tried for 3 days to get there. By the 4th day of the first week, we finally decided, no observers whatsoever, so we stopped. Yeah? After the Aloha Āina had their meeting at Word on the 21st of February, which about a dozen and a half of us attended, AHA participants. I knew that you guys would show up the next day. So I tried to get in there early because I didn't want to get caught outside like I did the last time. But anyways, yeah. So Anil Amro actually was the one that caused that whole ruckus on the 22nd outside of the gates. So I'm basically just supposed to give you guys an inside view of what happened at the AHA. When I went in, as I said, my platform was to start with the Constitution, move it forward, adapt to what we need to as far as the current situation. It took us a week before we could even decide who was going to take over and who was going to be in charge. The first week was strictly presentations that were done by pre-picked, pre-determined presenters. The second week was supposed to be the 3 facilitators who were supposed to take the rest of the week, and then the last 2 weeks was supposed to be us, the AHA, doing some kind of governing by ourselves. The one thing that happened at the very beginning before this even started, we had an email that only the participants were privy to. And there was so much pinky and hakapa going on and name calling that were going on. The biggest issue was a lot of people didn't want Pule involved. How can you not have Pule involved? To me, that's Hawaiian value, yeah? And these were supposed to be Hawaiians that are supposed to be doing that. They didn't want Pule. They said, you want Pule? Show up at 7 o'clock, we'll be in a room and you can go do what you need to do as far as your Pule and your protocol go. So for the first 4 days of that first week, we didn't Pule at all. You wonder why everything happened that happened? So by the next week, we kind of had our act together. And we started with Pule, we started with Ho'onani, and we did Nā'amoko. And it started to settle down. You could see that we were starting to mesh together. Independence and federal recognitions were kind of mixing together. They were saying, okay, we can talk, we can work this out. But by the last week, what happened, you could tell from the testimony and the adoption, the voting that happened on Friday. So the second week, we were told, we'll give you guys some 3x5 cards. You guys write down whatever thoughts you want to see in the Constitution. Whatever you want. Talk about land, talk about rights, talk about water, talk about whatever you want to see in the Constitution. You write it on a 3x5 card. So everybody was doing that. Reinventing the wheel actually is what we were doing. So we all did that. We figured there was a lot of things that, needed to discuss. Lo and behold, leadership came back and said, okay, these are the topics you guys are going to talk about. On these topics, we want you guys to decide, of these topics, what do you guys want to see? Then it came down to the third week, okay, we're going to start drafting Constitution. So you go with all these different committees, and in these committees, you say what you want specifically written. We give it to the draft committee. The draft committee will put it into legalized verbiage, and then they'll come back and they'll say, is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted us to do or to write? So I was part of the territory of land. In territory of land, we said, okay, we want all the land that belongs in archipelago. From Palmyra, Solomon, everything. We also wanted air. We want land, we want subsurface, we want 500 miles out. 3, the zone is only 200 out, so what? Put 500. That was on the territory of land. When it came back from drafting all that verbiage on, they said, no, we can't do that. it's not supposed to be part of it, because if it gets to be part of it, then it's going to be accepted by DOI. So the Constitution that was written was geared towards the DOI draft rules. Now the DOI draft rules, as I keep saying, are only draft rules. They've never been finalized. They were never finalized, and to this day have still not been finalized. So ask yourself this question: why? Why hasn't it been finalized? Because they're waiting for this AHA to power. Because they want to know what the AHA was coming out with. Because they have to see if what's written here fits into what's in here, or if they need to rewrite these rules to fit the Constitution. That's my thinking, that's my knowledge, that's what I think's going on. Remember I said that it was 88 that approved the Constitution, or adopted the Constitution, as the 30 that didn't? To me, history repeats itself. We are the 30 that are repeating ourselves by signing this annexation, by signing the Kuwait petition. The Kuwait petition is our Moku'ula, which is the 30. The Republic is the United States. Original United States. So history does repeat itself, and it is happening again. What we need to do, and I agree that Aloha Āina and the Manako and how they came about doing this, I don't agree with it. But as Moku'ula are saying, they're tired of signing petitions. They're tired of seeing and listening to people talk about what are we going to do. My question to you as a Maui, what are we going to do? What is the action that needs to be taken in order to see us move forward? In order for us to become a nation, what is the action you see us taking? So ponder on that question for a little bit. Yeah? Okay, that's it. Shall we answer? Exactly. And the Kuwait petition means education. Yeah? A lot of people don't even know what the Kuwait petition is. It just came to light about 10 years ago. Roughly. How long ago did Maui discover?
1996.
So, 20 years ago, rough guess. Say, only 20 years ago has the Kuwait petition come to light. So, 20 minus what, 200? At 150 years in of history catching up to do, we need to educate our people. The NAV88 that Nalani refers to, they're taking this Constitution and they're going to the United States. And the reason why they're going to the United States is because the people there don't know what's going on here. And so what's going to happen is, Patty Noah's sister said, it's okay for me to sign this, I'm going to sign this. Claire's mother said, it's a good thing, sign it. So I'm going to sign it. Does that make sense to you? That's what's going to happen to everybody in the mainland, because they don't know what's going on here in the islands. Yeah? Unless they have someone here that they're constantly keeping abreast of what's going on, they don't know what's going on, and they're going to be able to say, okay, we'll sign it. And this thing's going to get passed. This Constitution is totally heaven. We need to knock it down. The only way to knock it down is to educate everybody. And the Kuwait petition, I feel, needs to be taken around not only our state, not only the United States, but around the world. The reason I say that is, there's 250,000 native Kanaka Maui in the state of Hawaii, in this archipelago. There's another 250,000 that are worldwide. Those are the ones that need to be educated. Those are the ones that need to know what's going on. And those are the ones we need to get in touch with and say, do you want your culture to disappear? So I go back to my question now. What can we do? What can we do to get our nation jump-started? Can anybody think about it? Can anybody answer that question? What can we do to jump-start our nation? The biggest thing?
The civic
crying. Because from the Kuwait petition is where this whole thing started. That was the scene of the crime. Remember I said I was part of the territorial land, yeah? When it started going into the drafting committee, I saw it wasn't working. What I wanted wasn't there, the drafting committee was taking it out. The committee itself, whatever we submitted to the drafting committee was being taken out. And we were totally against that. But we couldn't stop it. So what happened was, Nā Aikāne from Moku'ula, he started the international committee. In the international committee, we had Williamson Chen, Keone Agard, Jimmy Wong, Keone Agard's dad, Moku'ula, all of them that have been involved, Aho, Hawaii, all those different factors that have happened, all different activist groups from before. They all came together and said, you know what, the scene of the crime is the annexation of treaty. We need to start there, we need to bring it forward, and we need to move on that. And that's exactly what the International Committee submitted to leadership. Leadership accepted it as part of a committee report, but their intent was actually to adopt the Constitution that came out of the 88 that stayed in the process. I tried to get them to accept all the documents that were submitted and just let them decide what they wanted out of what, but they weren't like that. The reason why is they needed to have something adopted in order to show Aloha, in order to show the United States. We can come together, we can draft a document. This is a document we've drafted, and this is what our people are going to accept. Yes, I'm putting it. How do you do that? I think we've got some texts in here. One just use modern technology. Use modern technology and take it around the world. Doesn't mean you necessarily need to be there physically. You can do a presentation and you can have it edited, you can have it Skype, you can have it FaceTime, you can have it on YouTube. You know, as long as you get organizations that will sponsor you in order and allow you to present, why not? Because I'm telling you, that is what the 98 is doing right now with the Constitution. They're using techniques to get the information out. They're using social media because that's what people are into right now, to get information out. That's what we need to stop. We need to stop this kind of stuff. And I can tell you, it's not going to happen. It's easier said than done, I hope. Because I'm trying to stop them from doing it, and I'm one of the participants, and I'm having a hard time. Honey.
You have to come to a consensus that the civilian and the work need in 56 copies stated unless you come freely, you cannot do nothing with it. And that's not the issue. That's not documented that already accepted on the floor and still stands as a document which I make South Sudan. And after the state as is, all we do is say, here we go. Here we go. Document. The document already accepted by Congress. It didn't happen. It created what has happened today. Now, the thing is, we have to realize that we can say, you got to look back to where we want. Because the government said that back then, it goes back up. So you cannot take some and some behind. You gotta take all together. Because everything is required. So we know that we have a constitutional. We know that three kinds of people recognize vested rights in the government, in the land. Only Now, when you go there, let me know you, let me do whatever. But we all know that people need things for long things and matters. They're going to have a modern battle. It's like no need or no need. But what we have to do right now, we all claim our industry, our people. So where do we come from? Come here, come to the we all here. We all do all of the same thing you see. We sell also at 1/3 to get the whole product. Everything always become by cost. And that's what we got to do back. That we cannot touch, but we never touch. It's just us, we still have to make a decision where we're going to. Really, the decision of people is there. It doesn't have to happen. And we have to take ourselves to the people. The thing is, for a group of people to say that they can take my right, is hard. Because I feel as one person, still have all my they fight all the people. So we cannot change it. Mine is the same. My best thing that I can see. So that's why we get on. So my thing is, we gotta really accept who we are. And we gotta move from there. And we don't, whatever the meaning is, whatever the joy we do, is like I do we're not a problem. We gotta take our problem as ours and then take up our problem. But we can only be together. And it's not working. We gotta be authentic. We gotta show it in different way the rest of it. Because you know what? All the cases they turn them on because they don't know about we get the problem, we get the problem. And we understand society. And not the animal. We are not going to know everybody. We don't know. We don't know. It's why I mean, like that, and that's, that's a lot of anger.
No, I agree with you, Connie. I really do.
I talked about the problem that came with all the government overflow. Now, if you look at how the system of government is ran across the way, most definitely we have no local governance. We have just the Aloha Āina, which is the key piece. The Aloha Āina is the one that holds the key. Yeah? Freedom. Because all our basic rights are within the land. Now, other ones are doing petition. Don't file on the real. Whatever amount of power that we sign already, we gotta get it up there. Wherever it needs to go. Congress, DOI,
President.
State of Hawaii, President Obama, or whoever it be.
No, it's addressed to
And we just gotta go.
It's
We
addressed
gotta go for parties telling us how.
It already has a destination.
And we gotta unilaterally move in all different directions. My move is already being planned.
Also, real quick, I'll add to what Karen people were saying. Karen mentioned the football. Okay? Our level was extremely easy. The town farmer who's in the lorry working to feed his family, he gets stained on the lake. The dirt to wash off. That's level football. Not just like in dirt where all around the outside and let his feet dirty, then he come inside and wash with the soap and water. It's not level football. That's all. Okay. A lot of folks they came out of that would sign that the Native Hawaiian Constitution. That's what it is. Not level football. Most of you people here is level football. You go for that petition, not go in. Let me share this real quick. Okay? Native Hawaiian Constitution from this Nā Aikāne is the offspring of Kanai, which is the offspring of Kaulinoa, which is aka the Akaka bill. Okay? The Akaka bill had been pushed through Congress, US Congress, for 15 years. And they got defeated. They got passed out. No matter how much time they're up in there, all these people, and I'm going to be straight up, these sellers. The one out there to sell out Julian, they never win. You know why? Because they were key individuals with their people. They went out every year, many of them on their own dime. And they
they walked the floors, all 100 senators, all, I think, 450 Austrians, to make sure that the real story about the Kanakas back here felt about that Akaka bill. And so even though the propaganda was being spun by a handful of people, you had key individuals with liberal people up there working the floor. So when Kemoko mentioned all the Kuri petition not going to get filed, that's exactly the fashion they're talking about. Okay, so these key individuals, and there were only 4 people that did this for 15 years, they were able to stop the Akaka bill from moving forward in the Senate. And you guys know that was Illinois' bill. That brought a planning power, political power. But just like how grassroots institute and the Yushuat, even though they're not our friends at all, make no mistake. But you can imagine they had a lot to do in stopping the effort. Okay, so whether we agree with them or not, and I don't, fundamentally and on principle, no freaking way. They're going to do it no matter what we say. So, right now, the way I see how we're going to do this, to your question, is turning in the Kuri petition.
So I'd like to ask everyone here, do you guys know anybody that belongs to the White Civic Club? Does anybody know anybody that belongs to the Civic Club? I know somebody in here that's a member of the Civic Club, and that there was a lot of people in the Civic Club. Is anybody Hawaiian Homestead beneficiary? Hawaiian Homestead beneficiary? Okay. The reason why I'm tagging the both of you is because the both of you are being represented by 88 that signed the adoption of that Constitution. Keep that in that's not going to do that's not going to go anyway right now because it's already done. That's why I wrote the no, I know what you're saying. Okay, so what Linda's saying is she's already written a letter that says she wants her name removed off of the Aloha list. That's fine for her to do that, but I'll tell you right now, that's water under the bridge. Doesn't matter already what you do that, because that role's already been used. Its intent has already been done. So it's already out there. How many people are on Aloha? Given the authority at Act 77 to merge everything from Operation Aloha, how we know and cannot Aloha. No, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. But that's what I'm saying here. That's their comeback to you. That's what's giving them the advantage to do what they did. But they did it. Right? Right. I hear you on that. And the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying is because if you know people that are on Hawaiian homes, get with your homestead leadership and tell them either one, you don't agree with being a member of the SHAW, the Homestead Association is part of the SHAW. And the reason I'll tell you this is because the president of the SHAW is Nā. Okay? The reason why this Constitution needed to be adopted is this. If nothing came out of the AHA, if nothing came out of that AHA, Rocky Downer would then have been able to go to the OI and say, I am the queen of this Hawaiian nation. I have all these Hawaiian homestead associations that are backing me and saying, yes, they want to be a federally recognized tribe. Whether you know it or not, she has that authority because your leadership in Hawaiian homes is allowing her to do that. You may not agree with your leadership. You may not even know what your leadership is doing. That's why I'm saying you, if you are a member of the Hawaiian Muslim Association, you need to get with your association leadership. I have kuka with that. So this question is, back in 2007, the came about, right? So the association was formed, and the president of that association is Rod Pahana. Rod Pahana agrees and is a member of Shaw. As the president of the board, he has the right from the board. Larry's issue is, I forgot how many homes you guys have. 104. I think it's more than that. Anyways, okay. So Larry has 104 households. According to their bylaws, it requires a certain percentage in order to make any kinds of changes to their bylaws. They have not had that quorum in order to change their bylaws. However, when they had their first quorum, they were able to become a part of the law. So, being the president, he can say whatever he wants to say, because you guys don't show up. I mean, I'm not saying you guys, but you know what I'm saying. The beneficiaries of lately do not show up and voice their opinion. Therefore, it allows him to do what he wants to do, because he got your permission from the very beginning. So he agrees with Ron Gaffer in the Shaw. You see where I'm going with this? I grew up with the Shaw meetings. I was actually part of the inside Shaw leadership until they found out that I was an independent, and they took me off. They don't allow me to inside of their meetings anymore. What? And then the reason why I was considered is because Anel Amaral is the president of all the six clubs. She was a member of the she was a participant of the AHA. She is the one that's pushing all of these AHA participants to go in their community to get this constitution adopted. Five of the participants just went to Vegas last week. That was Berkeley Bacteria, Colin Pippin, he wasn't an AHA participant. Yeah, he wasn't. So, we need to get the state levels to understand there is a second side to this. There's always two sides to religion, right? Their side, fortunately, is the only side that's being risked, because they're the only ones that are doing something. And I would challenge the Aloha Āina to step into those venues and bring the pond into it. Because the problem is there. You need a pond to come into it now and say, this is why that should not be done. I think that clearly people want to talk a little bit, so here I'll turn the mic to them.
The last people on the agenda to speak. And I'm just very quickly want to say that we need to really turn this around, as Moku'ula said, to look at ourselves and see how we communicate our love to other people. And do something about that. Because we don't like it happening to us. We need to really be the people that we were meant to be, that we have been given in our legacy as Moku'ula. And there's politics all over, there's Canada all over, but when do we stand up as a true people, the descendants of this land, to stand for this land, for our ancestors, for our culture? When do we stand up clear and strong as our Ku'e petition sires did? And this is one reason why I bring the petition. We go all over and carry those books and help people find their ohana. And that's one reason, because they were clear that we were a nation, we are a nation, we're free, and we love our freedom, and we have a place to play in the history of this part of the world and the whole world. And when we can come back to that clarity, then we will be again.
Opening mouth. My head is spinning around, especially with a lot of the stuff that Carol has shared, because every time I get more information, it leads me back to the beginning. Constantly leads back to the beginning. Mahalo to our leaders that have paved the way. Mahalo to their understanding of creating the Constitution and our statutory laws that are still in place. Hawaii cannot exist without the kingdom law. Period. It's based on a revised version of 1892 kingdom law, 1869 penal law, 1859 civil law. Everything in the so-called provisional state of Hawaii is based on kingdom law. So, Kane comes up with separation of powers. Within the kingdom, there were three divisions. There was the executive, there was the legislative, and there was representative. So let's go a little bit back in our history. What happened? We don't have to go back to 1770. All we got to do is go to 1892. Before the coup d'etat converged onto our island, our executive, Maui, put a legislative into recess. So that's quiet right now. No one has the authority to open them up. Then what happened after she put them into recess? January 16, they added. January 17, they held guns to her. So they took our Maui. Okay? I said three powers now. What happened to the representatives? Did anybody take us out? Did anybody guide us? Did anybody overthrow us? No. 4 years later, this is 1893, 4 years later, our Kumuna said, only annexation. If we never existed as of January 17, 1893, how come they can sign one piece of paper and defeat annexation in Congress of the United States? Federal recognition was done then. How? Lava. That's why you don't have a treaty. It's interesting when Carol said that they're required to have between 30,000 to 50,000 senators. That was our kingdom in 1893. We're looking for the total amount of population of our kingdom. Okay. So it goes into the Congress, accepted in Congress. If we didn't exist, they didn't have to accept it. They didn't have to acknowledge or receive it. They could just throw it in their trash can and just did whatever they wanted to do. They did whatever they wanted to do, but they could not ignore international law that we had the right to say yes or no. So then why is it important for us to do the petition today? Well, I asked the best resource that I could. I went to Kalekua. I said, Kalekua, if I really thought Nā Aikāne would do anything to me, then I really truly believe that this is the state of Hawaii. But it's not. So, what is it? Any consequence to me? He says, oh no, the petition is even more important today. Because what the Nā Aikāne is using is the Kanaka, the ones who can give consent. So they're going to have this illusion that the Kanaka Maui, the subjects and the citizens of the Kingdom of Hawaii, has now finally given consent to annexation. This is not part of the bill. This is annexation. Let's get that clear. They're looking for consent for all the times that they were being illegally occupying our land and invading our kingdom. So they're looking for consent. So they have to make it look as though we, the people of the kingdom, agree. This is where the Kanaka Maui Native Hawaiian comes in. Yeah? So I want to read for you out of the text of by the way, the senator that helped our queen's name was Senator Moore. There were a bunch of senators that questioned this joint resolution and annexation of Hawaii. And the question that was the most important for them to make clear was, I desired to ask the senator, I probably knew, but have forgotten, the provision of the Constitution of Hawaii on the subject as to the extent of citizenship under the Republic. Because remember, we said no, the Republic of Hawaii said yes. So, you need to make sure that who they annexed. Were all the inhabitants made citizens? This is Senator Bacon asking. Senator Cullum says, no sir. There are class of citizens existing under the Republic who declined to take the oath of allegiance. Guess who that was? Our Moku'ula, the petition. They do not deny it. It's in their congressional records. It's in their national archives. It's on record. So they go on to discuss all of this and why it was important for them. And he says this. The senator will see the pertinency of that inquiry when that part of the section is taken in connection with the amendment to which the conferees have agreed. So that's what the Republic of Hawaii was trying to do, was just trying to capture all of us. But they knew they couldn't. So in the beginning they were saying that they did, and they had to amend it to make it legal and say that only the citizens of the Republic, they cannot claim this. Okay, and so Senator Bacon is saying, you understand why I'm saying this? Because if they were not citizens of Hawaii on August 12, 1898 to the Republic of Hawaii, they are not now under this bill made either citizens of the United States or citizens of the territory of Hawaii. Our kupuna was never made citizens of the territory nor the citizens of the United States. They cannot take us. And they could not become citizens of the United States except by naturalization. Because we're from another country, we alienated. So why is this important? When they introduced the consortium, which is an Aikāne, which is the people who was going to create decision and constitution, they define who they are recognizing and representing. So, kind of, sort of, they're not representing us. This is why. Whereas the consortium of groups, including the Little Trust, Maui, and Ahui o Ka'ahuano, have been selected to be decision makers within the nation building process and shall address and decide the role that the descendants of the naturalized citizens of Kingdom of Hawaii will take. Can you hear that? They are the decision makers for only naturalized citizens from the kingdom. Okay? So if kupuna had signed a petition, they would have to produce, even if they want to say they're representing us, in order for them to represent us, they have to produce our naturalization papers to take us. I never got naturalized. I always thought I was an American. I'm finding it different. My tutu side, my grandmother's father's side. So my worry was, Dad, did grandma become naturalized? He said, no. She said the test was too hard. Okay, good. Did you get naturalized? He said, I always thought I was American. Never got naturalized. I cannot produce the documentation required for me to be a participant or represented by this consortium. So, we go back to the Kuya petition. You belong to the Kuya petition. You belong to the Kingdom of Hawaii. Attach your name to the petition. Get back the kingdom. There is no other document that we can come up with that directly links us to the kingdom. There are documentations we created that represents the kingdom. But I don't know any other document that is from the kingdom that we can attach ourselves to. So it only makes sense that America hasn't been paying attention to us because we never connect ourselves. We say we are, we say we do, but we don't have that documentation that they have anymore. But now we have it. And ill for Maui, because the Nā Aikāne family, his grandmother signed. She lives in Moku'ula Sands. She's 104. When she signed this petition 2 years ago, she was very clear in mind. She said, bring that petition here, I will sign it. And I tell you why. Because if you open the petition, you pay $222. My mother signed it. Continuity. No break in this documentation whatsoever. Couldn't. So, I would encourage you, I cannot tell you what to do. I would encourage you to go find your kupuna. Have a conversation with your kupuna. And then you can make your own decision. But that's where we come from.
Okay. Anybody want to? No. Mao, once again, everybody, Aloha and for all of my here, been actually spent out there. I know we got a lot of work to do. So my position still stands on great work to do. Maybe 20, 30, 40, but my goal is here. So one of the things that I like to concentrate on is bring a alter kind of voice to the situation of the environment. I'm going to pass the mic to a gentleman over here, and they take up something rattling around and it has a lot to do with all the land that agricultural lands. Yeah, so come on. Thank you, Shane.
So my name is Chris Douglas, my wife Sasha Douglas here. We were, along with my friend Joe Marshall, co-founders of the Shaka Movement, authors of the Shaka Movement Bill and the GMO Moratorium, which, by the way, can be heard in June 9th Circuit Court of Appeals, so it's still alive, of course. And we have a new petition, this time called the Nā Aikāne Community Organic Farmland Initiative. And it is basically a mechanism whereby we can, as citizens, take back the sugarcane plantations, at least 6,000 acres, which is in transition right now, and use the right of eminent domain, this time as a people choosing it, not a government, but a people choosing it against corporation, and take that land back by paying fair market value for it and turning that into a public trust resource for everybody to use, and dedicating that to organic and regenerative agricultural practices. So it's an initiative. We're still right now in the phase of gathering signatures. We have to turn in the first 10,000 signatures by April 17th. So 2 weeks away from now, we're still struggling to get all of our signatures. Another 10,000 signatures 6 weeks later in order to put on the ballot for the voters in Maui to vote. Now, just because we pass this is not a slam dunk that's suddenly going to happen, because using the initiative system, the citizens can't spend the county's money, so it still requires the county council to actually finalize it. It just makes a mechanism that people can put their voice out. Do you want this land to continue to be corporate owned, or do you want it public owned? Do you want this land to continue to be chemical agriculture, or do you want organic and regenerative agriculture? So it's like a popularity contest. It puts in people who make that check in the box and say, which are you choosing? It also opens up the Pandora box of, does D really own that land? And everyone in this room knows the answer to that. And it will force that into the open, and bring it out of the closet into the open, because you can't use eminent domain on land that's not actually owned. They have to prove their rightful, who they buy from, how they receive it, how they get it. So it will bring that forward, and there's another avenue where we're all working toward the same goal of a sovereign Hawaiian nation. And it also grabs the land and holds it, so we don't get more development, because you know what A and B wants to do with that land. But they want to do it every place else. They want to sell on little chunks at high price, make gentlemen estates and developments out of it. So it puts it back as a public resource, gets farmers on the land, starts growing land, food for the Aina, until such time as the sovereign Hawaiian nation rises up, and then we have some pristine, restored land in order to give it back to the nation of Hawaii. So for myself, that's my greater goal. It's a long-range plan. It's a short-range step in order to do it.